Hey Green Thumbers, welcome back to my channel. This is Alicia in Zone 6B and I wanted to give you guys a spring garden update. Let's get to it. So last time we were a janky hot mess. Now we're not a janky hot mess, but we still are a long way from where we need to be. So this big spot right here was the big rocks that we had taken out of the garden because it was just so hard to walk on, and it sat there for a while, which is why there's still this little patch right here, but it should fill back in within a couple of weeks, so we're not really worried about it. Looks like our blueberry bushes are starting to get a little more greenage, a little foliage, so they're finally taking off. I was able to get some smaller rocks in here. As you can see, it's a little patchy. We need a little bit more, so I'm going to work on getting more of those just so that it can be full. Over here we have our onions, and as you can see, compared to last time, they are really taking off. I think I planted these onions back in April. And right now it is, I think, June 10th. I do want to just say we are very behind a little bit on planting. We planted our beginning spring crops at the right time, which was like the beginning of April. And then some of these crops can't come out until they're done producing, and then we'll trade them out. So I know once these peas are done and those peas are done over there, I'm going to trade those out for rattlesnake pole beans as well as cucumbers on that side. So we're doing really good though. You can see our snap peas here. Then we have some onions on this side. So for some reason the onions on this side, at least like the green part, is not as big as the ones over there, and I'm wondering if it has something to do with sunlight. But honestly, we plant onions here every year. I do a little bit of crop rotation, but I don't do it that much. What I mainly do is just put down new compost and granular fertilizer when we plant. And every year, everything does a good job, even though I don't rotate everything. And so it hasn't been this much of a difference. Sorry, I'm eating my pea. It hasn't usually been this much of a difference in size between this bed from this one. So that's a little different, but they are still growing, and the ones on this side seem a little bit bigger than these. So the bulbs on these over here may be a little bit smaller. I don't know if maybe I need to give them a trim. I do need to fertilize though. I have not fertilized since I put everything in here. So I'm about 3 to 4 weeks late on fertilizing. I try to do it at least once every 3 weeks to every month. But we've just had so much going on that I haven't had a chance. So it's been raining pretty much every day, so I didn't want to fertilize and it just wash away. So we're gonna have a break in rain, but it rained all last night. Everything is still wet, so I'll probably fertilize a little bit later, give it a little time to dry up a little bit, and then maybe in the evening. I was able to get some tomatoes planted here. I know I see these weeds, I have to get those up, but the tomatoes are looking good. They've taken shape. I actually had to get these tomatoes from the nursery because I started my tomatoes too early, and even after potting up, they just got way too big, and so I had to go to the nursery to get some. But as you can see, I planted these maybe about 4 or 5 days ago, and they're looking pretty good. Over here are my brassicas. So the cabbage worms, they did a number on all of my brassicas, but I have some broccoli there, broccoli here, and broccoli here. So I remember my broccoli last year being way bigger. I see this huge center stalk, and I'm hoping that doesn't mean that it's bolting, because it does look like it's not a tight little, usually it's like hidden almost like my cauliflower. This year it's kind of like protruding out. So our weather has been all over the place. It's been extremely hot, and then almost like this morning it's almost extremely cool. But I also planted some tomatoes by seed in this first row here because I need a lot of tomatoes. I really want to do salsa and pasta sauce. And because I came out here and just like trying to find some extra time, I did not create the tags, but I do know which ones they were. When they grow, hopefully I'll remember. I probably won't. I say that every year, but I do still have them inside, and I have them wrapped up, which ones I did plant. So I'm hoping that once they do start to grow, it'll be easy to identify because they're not just red. I have cherry tomatoes, I know, right here, and then I have 2 orange varieties here, and then I think I have like a beef steak on the end. But anyway, so I have some collards and some cabbage. Like I said, we're already in June and I don't have heads yet. Normally by June I would have at least a small head, so I may only be able to harvest the leaves for the cabbage and not actually get a head, but I'm gonna leave it in here until it dies back. I have plenty of garden space, so I'm not gonna rush it, and we'll just see what happens. And I'm hoping once I fertilize it, my collards, they'll grow bigger. This looks pretty good though. I mean, it's not the worst. I just know what it usually looks like by now, but we were so behind. It's cool. It is what it is. I was able to get my impatiens planted right here, but I do still have a few things to plant here. I have some petunias, and then I also like to do some type of vegetable in there. I might just do a spaghetti squash. I wanted to do my spaghetti squash up the trellis this year just because it sprawled out so far when I grew it there, but because I don't really have any right now, I don't want to waste trellis space on something that's not established yet. So I may just put more compost in all of these and then put the spaghetti squash back in the big pots and let it do its thing and trail out. Over here you can see we have plenty of snap peas. So every day, actually, I've been coming out here harvesting stuff because I've been making a salad every single day because we have so much lettuce, and I really want to use up a lot of the lettuce and the radish like before they start to bolt. But we are doing really good with our peas slash snap peas. And you see the onions on this side versus those onions right there. They were planted on the same day, same variety, but on this side it's a little skimpy, and then over here they're thriving. So this side is thriving, that side is not. Same recipe though. So you can't tell it, but I've been harvesting lettuce every day, but because it's like cut and come again, it's still so full. And it's way fuller than it was the last time I showed this. Now I do have radish right here, and some of them are starting to bolt. I have been harvesting them every day, just not fast enough. Also, I have some over here. As you can see, those babies are huge down there. These are my carrots. Can't see any heads on them yet, but they're growing pretty good. And I have some small radish down over there. A succession of radish. This was my spinach, and it's bolting, and I need to pull it, and I'm probably gonna pull it at some point. Same thing with my Asian greens. These are bolting, but some of this still might be usable. I've never had this. It's called chim jimsum, something like that. But yeah, so I do a lot of like hot pot and stuff like that, so I'm experimenting with different Asian greens. My bok choy bolted like 2 weeks ago, so I pulled that out. But we have more lettuce here. It's crazy. I've been cutting this and making salad for the family every single day, and it still just looks untouched. And one of the lettuce seeds blew over here because this is not even where I normally plant vegetables. I actually do my nasturtiums on the end usually, so I had to do my nasturtium seeds in this little area so that they can sprawl out. I'll probably do more though because lettuce is only going to last so long with this heat. And then these 3 right here, I have a little bit of a cauliflower right there, but it's not that tight. I don't know if it's breaking up already, but I'm just excited to see a head of something, honestly. Like, I didn't think that I would get anything. So we still have a couple weeks before it's officially summer. So I'm hoping that after I fertilize it, that we'll be further along. But overall, I mean, still beautiful, still thriving. And I'll just need to put something right here on this trellis. And then once I pull this out, I'll probably do watermelon again, maybe. And then, so I'll start some like right here. And then once I pull this out, then this will be some type of summer crop that vines. Maybe beans. Beans are a good trellis option. Last year I had way too many cucumbers and not enough beans. So this year I want to do more. So I do have flowers, but I still need to plant flowers in my own pots. These blue pots here. That's the fertilizer I'm going to be using today, that Alaska fish fertilizer. Normally what I'll do is I'll put about like a tablespoon or so in each watering can, and then I'll fill it up with water. So that's the reason why I don't want to do it right now, is because everything is still kind of soaked, and so I don't want everything to be overwatered. But I am going to do that later. These two small green stalks I have all Impatiens, white and pink. So Impatiens, because they're a border flower, they usually fill out really good, and so I think that it's going to be really pretty once it fills out. And then over here, I finally got my other green stalks up. I was able to get the garage painted, which is what I was waiting for. I had to get the garage painted so that it just wouldn't look so horrible over here. So everything over here is not thriving. This is mint, mojito mint. It's not looking that great, but I'm hoping that it'll bounce back. And then what's this, like oregano or something? Oh no, peppermint. So my peppermint is not looking the greatest, but it's not looking the worst. I do have some flowers mixed in here. So over here, this is supposed to be like my herb garden. So like we have some thyme that's doing really well. We have some English lavender, parsley, cilantro down there, sage is right there, and then spearmint. So this whole row are different mints, because mints are really invasive, so I tried to put them on just one tier. So they still have a lot of greenage, but then we also have, like, you know, some dying back a little bit, but I think it'll bounce back fine. It's just been hot, and I planted it right before it got super hot, but I'm hoping that with the rain that we've been having, it'll help it like establish better. We have rosemary, basil, that's basil, cilantro, another mint. This is apple mint. Put that in the water. We have some lemon balm right here. So some of these are doing great and others are struggling, but hopefully, you know, in a week or so the struggle will be gone and we'll be thriving 100%. Over here we actually have strawberries, which were planted late. I already had strawberries over here and from last year, and I didn't cover them up over the winter, but they were surviving good. They still had like that green base all the way through, I feel like, January, which I was really confident about, because then we only had to really get through February and March of cool temps. But I don't know, in the end of January and then February, it got so bitter cold, like below zero, and all of my strawberries died back. So then by the time I realized it and ordered more, the first batch that I ordered, because I was waiting to build my green stalks because I was trying to paint, they basically went bad. I had soaked them in water and I was trying to take care of them and baby them, but didn't work. So I had to order more. So that's this batch you see here. So there is some greenery. I don't really expect to harvest much just because we're already in June, and usually you plant strawberries way sooner. So this is just for them to get established, but I don't really expect much to happen until next year. But I also planted some flowers just to, oh look, you can see green stalk technology. So, you know, the water goes up here. Oh, I forgot to put my strawberry So the strawberries I planted are called All-Star Strawberry. They're June bearers. It's June. They're not bearing because I just planted them. But I got them from Stark Bros. I'll just put this down in here so I'll remember the variety. But yeah, I'm still encouraged by the fact that there is a little bit of green foliage on a lot of these. But like I said, this year my husband bought me some green stalk covers. So the stuff that is supposed to come back next year, like the strawberries, I'll cover this up this time, and then in the spring of next year we should be doing pretty good. Over here are all green beans, and like I said, I really want to have a lot of green beans because I would like to freeze some. I'm just taking off these ones that are kind of not looking the greatest. There's still a lot of good green on here, so I don't want the energy to go into trying to repair something that's not worth repairing. So when I take this stuff off, it'll just focus on root development and producing beans. So I did have beans in a green stalk last year. They did really well. This year I wanted to focus more so on bush beans because last year I had a lot of pole beans, and so they were spiraling down, and it was still easy to pick though, so it wasn't the worst. But I do have trellises that I got from green stalk this year, so it should make it a little easier. I planted one or two strawberries over here just because I had some left over, but these are peppers. And I still have some empty spaces here. So, and I have a lot of things that I can get planted and then I can put in there as seeds. So, more to come on this one. These are potatoes. It's my first year growing potatoes in a green stalk. They are getting a little yellow, but I know it's not dying back yet because it's way too early. So these are going to get fertilized as well. I think I'm also going to like top dress these with some granular so it'll break down over time when I am watering it, just because I don't think that, no, I did put granular in here when I first planted them, but I think that was over a month and a half ago. So it's probably time to sprinkle a little more on top. I have more tomatoes over here and more peppers that I started from seed, and this is yellow squash that I need to get planted that I started from seed. This is spaghetti squash. I think those are pretty much done for, but I did just start some in the house, so hopefully by the time I'm removing some spring crops, this is too wet. Let me take this stuff out of here. I don't want it to be waterlogged. Set them up here for now. Water is good, but too much water can be a bad thing. And same thing in here, so I'm just gonna take this out. I'm not gonna pour the water out though, because this type of stuff does dry out fast, and if I need it, I'll just stick it back in there. So yeah, I have to pull off some of this little dead, but overall I still have some good viable plants in there. This is my mess of a greenhouse right now. I'll get it cleaned up. I was able to build my composter, so all of this soil that I'm not using, I'm gonna put it in the compost bin. We have more lettuce over here. So this was bok choy. I had to harvest that because it was getting ready to bolt. And then this right here is lettuce that I cut but left the stalk and the roots down in there, and as you can see, it's coming back. So I love when that happens. So we got to try to get through all of this lettuce before it gets too hot. Over here I planted, so I had broccoli rabe over here and they bolted, so I replaced it with some cabbage that I started from seed. I think this is Amaro cabbage, but it's actually taken off. And then this is a red cabbage over here, and although it is taken off, it is not I don't know how much we're gonna get. I'll just say that. Over here, as you can see, we have a lot of maintenance to do. So I need to get a new, what's that called? Like edger, so that I can like clear all of this out. It just looks horrible. And I also need to get these pallets out of here. My big rocks that were over in the other garden, my nephews put it over here for me. But before I spread it out, I just need to do like some cleanup. But I've been so busy trying to get stuff planted, and since this is kind of hidden in the garden, it's embarrassing to say the least, but it's the real. So sometimes once you get behind, it's so hard to catch up, but I will. I did plant some tomatoes over here. My tomatoes usually do really well in these pots. I just refreshed them with some compost and some granular fertilizer, and they are doing really well. My beds over here, let's walk over here. I have to pull all of this stuff out. I'm not good at telling if things are volunteers from the year before or if they're just weeds. So I just gear myself towards weeds and I pull everything out. So I'm gonna pull all of this out, and this is gonna be my pepper and zinnia bed like it was last year. I'm gonna put new compost in here, refresh it, new compost in here too, refresh it, granular, and then I'll get my peppers planted over here. This is the only area that I actually refreshed and planted. So these are my stocks. I started these back in February, and they are finally starting to flower, and they're so pretty. This is all of the dead tomato vines that were in these pots. This was the best place for me to put it because I didn't want to keep walking back and forth. So what I'm going to do with these I'm going to take, I wonder if I can show you guys, like, okay, here we go. So as you can see, the thing that I use, like the little tape gun I use to trellis it to these poles, there's a lot of this stuff on these vines. So I have to go through it with the fine tooth comb to make sure that I get all of that out, but then I'm gonna compost this. And I'm new to composting, so I really wanna put my best foot forward with doing that. This is the compost that I use right here. And then I have to clean around here. As you can see, all of this green. I'm gonna clean that out. This, I did buy a new spinner for this one. I just have to basically take it apart, put the spinner down there, and put it back together. And then I have more strawberries, and I'm probably just gonna put those strawberries right here on the end. But yeah, so that's over here. And again, this looks bad, and I know that, but I don't want to be fake and just only show the pretty stuff. This is my compost bin that I put together. So far I only have things on this first side. I probably should have opened it and let it rain in there, but it's very empty right now. But that's that. So far so good. This isn't going to stay here. This is just my potting table. That table is what this was supposed to be, but this is kind of like narrow. So I mean, it does a little something like, but the table is really more useful than that. So I have these little pots down here. Probably gonna put cucumbers in them again. And over here we have cabbage. See, that's how I know it's time to fertilize. You see how everything is just like yellowing. And then not only that, but we had a lot of cabbage worms over here that I was coming over and picking. Haven't seen any cabbage worms since I sprayed it with BT. But all the damage was, still done. So, and since these whole leaves are not damaged, I'll probably just like cut off the little brown. This one, same thing, a lot of damage already. But this is more of the, I think it's the Omero cabbage that I planted, which I think is like a Napa. But it's doing pretty good. Over here, this is summer squash. That one is pretty much dead, so I'll probably replace that one with one of the ones that we saw over there. I did put my taller pots over here, but I have no idea what I'm going to put in them. But I figured that's good space. It gets sunlight, and so maybe I can try to do something with it. Same thing over here. More squash. That one looks dead, so I'll probably replace that one. I have some pots over here, and all of these are weeds. I just have to come through with my weed whacker and get all the stuff around the pots and then pull all of these out. And I do have more potatoes, so what I may do is just like plant potatoes in these. And I don't know what, this is just like a hot weeded mess. But they're onions. So I'm gonna go through and pull all this stuff out. Not right now, but you can see there's so many weeds growing like in between the onions, and I would like to get bulbs. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to dedicate some time to pulling these weeds out. Won't take long though, because the soil is pretty loose. And then I think this is growing from up under it. I don't even know what this is. If anybody knows what that is, I'm guessing it's just a big weed. I'll probably take a picture of it and then just put it in my little app to see what it is. More maintenance needs to be done over here. As you can see, a lot of greenage. And I'm supposed to be planting my sweet potato slips over here. And I was supposed to do that about 2 weeks ago. Well, not 2 weeks ago, maybe like 10 days ago. I like to do it like right at the beginning of June because they need at least 90 to 120 days. But again, haven't got to it. So a lot is done and a lot needs to be done. But overall, we are making progress. So hopefully by the time I get to my next video, you guys will say, oh my God, I'm so proud of you for getting so much done. But on early mornings like this, it's just so beautiful to be out here. That pink is on there because my daughter just had a birthday party. So that's why it's on the table. But anyway, those are my extra flowers over there. And then these are my extra compost and Miracle Grow bags. And so that's what we're looking like June 10th of 2026 spring garden. And oops. I hope you guys enjoyed the spring garden tour. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and just follow along. Comment, please let me know if there's anything that I could be doing different. If you have any tips or tricks, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you guys later.